Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do some lazy daisies. If you have a look in your instructions, you should have pages, you should have a lazy daisy guide, and that shows you where things are going to be. And then in the stitch guide at the back, there's a little diagram showing you lazy daisy step by step, along with some written instructions. So you should be able to learn how to do it from that, but I've also filmed a video for you to help you if you want a little bit extra help. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by adding our lazy daisies into our tree down here. So you can see I've already put my back stitch in because it's important to have that in place because the lazy daisies sit on top. And what we're going to do is we're going to come up through the fabric on the dot in the middle of the trunk that goes at the middle of the tree. So I've tried to make it easier for you by making the lazy daisy dots bigger than the bead dots. So we're focusing on the big dots here. So we're going to come up on that dot in the middle. We're then going to go down through exactly the same hole that we've just come up through. But rather than pulling the thread all the way through the fabric, we're going to leave that loop on the surface of our fabric. We're going to come back up through the fabric on one of these dots, pull the needle through. As you pull the thread through, it will catch the loop, so the loop sits on the surface of the fabric. We're then going to put our needle down just the other side of the loop, so we're coming up through the middle of the loop and we're going to go down on the outside of the loop, and we're almost going to tack that little loop onto the surface of our fabric. So we're going to do the same again. We're going to come up through the fabric on the dot in the middle. If you've ever done chain stitch before, this is really similar. So they're called lazy daisies, but they're also known as detached chain stitch. So it's like doing a single chain stitch. So you go down through the same hole you came up through. We're going to go this way this time. So we're going to leave that loop on the surface of our fabric. We're going to bring our needle up on that printed dot on the fabric in the middle of the loop. As we pull through, that loop is going to catch and sit on the surface, and we're going to go down through the fabric on the other side of the loop just to tack it in place. So you can see how we're going to then do that everywhere where we need to place lazy daisy stitch. Like that. Now, very often in my kits, I will create flowers using lazy daisies. So I'm going to demonstrate that to you now as well. So sometimes you will see lots of lazy daisies together to create almost like a circle shape. So you can see in this lazy daisy guide, in the instruction booklet, we've got 5 lazy daisies all together, all finishing at that same point in the centre to create a flower. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. So we're going to do it in exactly the same way. We're going to come up through the fabric on the middle dot. So we need to make sure we're coming up in the centre of the flower. We're going to go down through that same hole in the fabric. We're going to leave the loop on the surface and come up on one of the printed dots. As we pull through, we're going to create a loop on the surface and we're going to go down through the fabric on the outside of the loop to tack that loop in place. Now we're going to come back up through exactly that same hole in the middle again this time. And again back down, creating that loop on the surface. And we're going to come up through the dot, the next one along, and create another lazy daisy. And you're going to do this for all of the 5 dots surrounding this middle point. So every single time coming up and down through that same hole in the middle. There you go. So you've now created 5 lazy daisies, and you can see how putting them all so they all kind of finish in that same central spot creates them into a little flower.